What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are painting wheels for the Cutlass. So today's video is going to be all about how to prep your wheels for paint and how to actually paint them. I want to start this video off by saying I am no expert in this. This is what I've done before. Now, when I first bought my Cutlass, it had some grandpa style hubcaps, some white striped tires. Here's a picture of it. And I wanted to give this car more of a muscle car look. So I bought some SS2 style wheels off of a 442 that was sitting in Fusick Automotive's shop at the time. Those wheels were orange. And me wanting my car to look as cool as possible, I wanted to paint those orange wheels black. So I did, and I did a super basic rattle can job. I bought some black paint from like an AutoZone or a Pep Boys type of deal. I scuffed them up as best I could, gave them a couple good coats of paint. Now the issue I had was those wheels were not mounted on the tires at the time. So we put some BF Goodrich radial TAs on there. You guys have seen a couple pictures of those. And what ended up happening, I'm not sure if the camera is going to be able to pick it up. Let me see if I can get a flashlight over here. So when they mounted the new wheels, because of the mechanism on the tire mounting machine, some of the orange started to peek back through. And when we assembled the tires, honestly, at the time, I just wanted to get the car running and driving. So I threw all the trim rings on it. And to this point, and up to today, I haven't really bothered to fix it. So now the other issue that we have, like I've mentioned in a previous video, is one of the wheels is out of round. We knew that going into starting that whole part of the project. And every couple days I'd have to fill the tire up with air, especially if the car was sitting for a long time or if I had just got done with a very long trip. So over the weekend, I took the car back and forth to Massachusetts, and I purposefully left the tire sitting for a little bit so that way you can see just how bad this is. Believe me, I know I shouldn't have done this. I'm not planning on keeping these wheels, so I figured I'll just leave it to show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is the wheel as it currently sits. Obviously very, very flat. You can't really read the BF Goodrich over on this side. These wheels that I bought were actually from a Classic Oldsmobile forum member. They're a little bigger. These are 15x7s rather than the 14x7s I currently have on the car. They're also slightly bigger tires. So these are 235 70R15s rather than the 215 70R14s that I have on the car. So these will be a little better for cruising, be a little more comfortable. And they're a little bit wider of the tire, so while they will be a little more noisy, they will help give the Cutlass a little bit more of a muscle car look. So with that, let's get going. So in this video, what I really want to try to do is I want to try to avoid and correct some of the mistakes that I made the last time I tried to do this, and really try to show you guys the right way to do this. Now, before we get going, what you really should do, the absolute 100% right way, is to take the wheels off the tires, get them sandblasted, get all the paint off there. Don't even worry about what I'm gonna do today. This is really for if you're on a budget, if you don't have the time or capability to send your wheels to a shop to do this right, this is how you do it at home. So not a lot of tools are gonna be involved. What I've got is a couple different grades of sandpaper. What I'm gonna try to do, I've already hit these wheels with some paint thinner. It didn't really do a ton. It was actually, so I tried taking a scraper and getting a bunch of the paint off of this one. This was taking forever. So what I'm gonna try to do is scuff up the paint as best I can, give the new primer and paint something to stick to. So I've got 80 grit sandpaper, 100 grit sandpaper, and 240. Basically, I'm gonna use the 80 grit and 100 grit to try to knock back as much of the current paint as I can. Before I put the paint thinner on, I tried it with just a piece of sandpaper and it was coming off okay. But really what I wanna do is just give the new paint something to grip to. So that's what I'm going to use these two grits for. And then once we've got a good layer of primer on there, I'm going to rough it up again, put another layer of primer on, and then rough it up once more, and then start putting the new layers of paint on there. The color we're going to be going with this time, rather than the black that's currently on the car, what I've got is, hopefully this will focus, but this is Fusick part number WP5S. And it is 1968 to 1972 Oldsmobile Charcoal Gray, otherwise known as Argent Gray, and it's specifically for the SS2 wheels. Now the other thing with this set of wheels, The ones that are currently on the car are the bolt-on center cap style. Basically, they've got 5 bolts that go through the wheel into the center cap, and that's what holds it on there. These ones are snap-on style. So through eBay, I was able to find some brand new snap-on center caps. These, as you can see, have these little tabs right here. That's what holds these onto the wheel. And basically, you bend these around this lip right here to get these to hold on properly. Now, the other good thing about these tires in this wheel set, now the other good thing about this set of wheels is that the guy that sold them to me gave me all of the trim rings and all of the trim pieces, which you guys saw in a previous video. So that's super easy. That's an expense that I don't have to source, and that'll make finishing these up a whole lot easier. So really the 2 big things to pay attention to here is that the wheels are clean for one, and number 2, prepped right. If either one of those things are off even a little bit, your paint is going to be flaky, it's going to chip off, and your wheels are going to look like junk. I know from personal experience, nothing looks worse than a green car with black rims that have little orange speckles in them. It's not a good look. So I'm going to put a ton of time into prepping these wheels right, making sure they're clean. Once I've scuffed them up, I'll probably wash them down, let them dry, and that way they'll be ready for paint and clean. So as I said, I'm using sandpaper to take most of the paint off, really scuff it up. Make sure that you have a lot of sandpaper because this is really going to eat right through it. So get some sandpaper, make sure you've got plenty of it, and just get at it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some smaller pieces like this so I can really get into all of these little cracks and crevices and all of these little design features. Because while these do look really cool, it's not very easy to get in there, especially not with a big piece of sandpaper like that. The other thing I highly recommend, make sure you're wearing some clothes that you don't really care about. If there's any sort of overspray that happens, you don't want that getting on your nice clothes. So get some stuff you don't really care about. So for now, I'm just going to get going on the rest of these. I'm not going to bore you guys with watching me scruff up all of these wheels. So I'll update you in a little bit. So just a little progress update here. I'm about halfway done. I've got the first 2 wheels all scuffed up. You can see they're a little bit lighter of a color, a little less shiny than this one. So yeah, just going to keep plugging away. All right, so that is just about that for scuffing. Now this wheel, I know it looks like it's pretty rough, and that's kind of because it is. I tried to use some of the paint stripper on there and a metal brush or a metal scraper to get a bunch of the paint off. That was way more work than I was anticipating. I actually ended up spending about twice as much time on this one wheel as I did all 4 of these just now, just scuffing them up. So scuffing them up is what I did last time. Before we had put the trim rings and the new tires on there, it had worked pretty well. It's really just once the paint is on there, you can't really disturb it because these aren't super thick layers of paint going on. So if you ding them or scratch them too hard, basically you're going to end up with chips in your paint, and that is what we're trying to avoid. So now these are all scuffed up. We're going to give them a good clean, get them dry, and we'll start painting. Another status update. The wheels are all scuffed, they're all cleaned, they're all dried. What I want to do now is I want to try to find something just to mask the valve stems here. I don't want to get too much paint on there. I'd really like to avoid it if at all possible, because that would be just as janky looking as the last rims, and I'm trying to avoid looking janky. I'd rather look cool, look fresh, be styling with my new rims. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find something to mask it and keep it going. So sometimes with car stuff, you have to improvise. I didn't have painter's tape to mask, but I did have some bubble wrap from the new center caps. So I cut some strips of that, wrapped it around the valve stem, threw some tape on there. That should be good enough. It may be a little tricky, but the trim ring is going to cover up most of that, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about getting paint on there or not enough paint on there. So we'll see how it goes. So another thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find a way to mask the tire here because I don't want to get any paint on there because that would be a big pain in the butt to take out. So with the extra wheel, this piece of cardboard was in there. You can sort of see it's got the pattern of the rim on there. I'm gonna try to cut something so that way it's the same shape, the same radius as the rim. Try to mask the tire there. I don't think it's gonna be perfect, unfortunately, but we'll see how she goes. As with all things in life, we kind of learn as we go. I just got a whole bunch of paint all over my hands, so I'm gonna learn from that mistake. I'm gonna start wearing gloves for the rest of the painting. All right, so this wheel is definitely gonna need some work. You can see that's my fault there, just a big goober of paint. I'll have to knock that back with some sandpaper. Same thing over here in this lip right in here. I'm gonna have to knock that back and redo it. These other wheels look okay. I'm not too disappointed in that. I think it looks pretty smooth. I'll rough it up a little bit. Hit it with one more light coat of primer and then get it going. Okay, second coat of primer is on. Wheels are looking a little cleaner. This one's still a little janky. Hopefully the paint will help set up the camera. We'll see how this Argent Gray looks on these wheels. Okay, so this is what the Argent Gray looks like. It almost sort of looks like a bare metal, like a cast iron or a cast steel or something like that. There is a ton of pearl in this, so it's super, super shiny. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up until the wheels are all nice and clean. But going through here, there are some little defects here and there. It is pretty warm and pretty humid, so we're not getting the best drying possible. So I've got a little bit of cleanup to do, like in here and in here, so I'm going to sand that down, give it another coat. This wheel, like I thought, is giving me a particularly hard time. As you can see, there's a little bit more work that needs to be done on this one, but overall I think it's looking pretty good. I think it's going to look really cool once it's all chromed up and sitting on the Cutlass. So I'm going to get back to it. Alright, so that is pretty much it. 4 wheels are painted in the new Argent Gray. That's going to be all for this video. Next time we're going to get the wheels cleaned, shined up, and start assembling with the chrome, and then they're going to go on the Cutlass. If you like what you've seen, please go ahead and like this video down below. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, and this car gets better and better every video, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. And if you know anybody who likes old cars, likes projects, likes Oldsmobile specifically, please go ahead and share this video with them. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.